Good morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee and Craft with me, Laura.
Me, Alison.
And we have the boys. Obviously. They're always there.
It wouldn't be right without them, would it?
They're just hovering around in the background.
Loitering
with intent.
Oh dear. So if you hear any little noises in the background or any comments, you know where they're from.
Yes, we know exactly where they're from. But yeah, we hope we're good, guys. It's the first time I've seen you since before Christmas, so I hope you all had a really nice Christmas, and you know, it was nice and peaceful for you all.
It was.
Did you have a nice one?
Yeah, I did. Quiet, but lovely. It gave me a chance to recharge my batteries.
Yeah, you do need it, don't you? You need that
Yes.
little break sometimes just to recharge and have a little bit of a rest.
Exactly.
It's nice, isn't it?
Caught up with friends I haven't seen for ages, so that was lovely.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, my love, isn't it?
Exactly.
So as you know, the whole purpose of the show, and for anybody who maybe hasn't watched before, is this is an opportunity for us to be able to give you some advice with any questions that you may have to do with craft. Literally anything that you can think of that you're struggling with, or if you need some ideas, or with a die set, anything, and our lovely Ali will do her best to answer the questions for you. And I'm here to obviously give a bit of advice if I can, but also to read your questions and comments as we go along. So do feel free as well, if you do think of something during the show, pop it in the comments and I'll ask Ali for you whilst we're live on air then. So should we get cracking?
We shall.
Here we go.
Right, our first question today was from Lisa John, and she's asking about inking around the edge of a card with the sponges. So I've got our little sponges here. Don't worry, we'll put all the numbers and names and everything.
Mine's on it.
He's on the case.
Oh, he's there with his little laptop.
Yeah.
So these are our Nuvo blending sponges. That's easy to remember, isn't it? And I've got a little bit.
Nuvo blending sponges.
And our Nuvo ink. So if you've never seen our ink before, it is a hybrid ink. That means you can use it with alcohol inks, but you can also use it with watercolour. So if you're in a dilemma, which ink do I use for colouring with my alcohol pens? What do I use for my watercolours? This uses, you can use everything with this.
So it's the perfect base.
It is,
then, really?
because it means you only need one product. You don't need to line up a couple of inks in your, you know, in your arsenal.
Oh, Daniel.
We've just had an issue with the camera.
Up until that point.
You were as subtle as a sledge in the end.
No one would have noticed.
Welcome to Tonic, guys. This is how we roll.
Exactly.
We're
still here.
Yep.
So our little sponges, they're really soft and very easy to grip. So if you're inking around the edge, start on your mat. Don't put your ink straight onto your card. Start on your mat and bring it in. And just go very lightly flicking. And then you can bring it in as far as you want then. But I start with little flicking motions. And then it's lighter on the inside than it is on the outside.
See those two colours as well? That gives kind of an aged vintage look, doesn't it?
It does.
Because Ali's using sort of a yellowy cream card, isn't it? And
this is our Acorn brown.
Yeah, it does.
It does. And if you wanted it a little bit darker on the edge, so you've kind of brought your colour in. So
that's lovely.
I hold it up to the camera so you can. Oh, there we are. Can you see it there? No.
Yeah, you can see it faintly.
Do you want a little bit more?
It does look a bit
Let's
stronger.
put a little bit more. So again, I'm starting on my mat, and I'm just flicking motions coming in. I'll do it a little darker for you, but you can do it very light.
Yeah.
And then you just come in, and you don't have a harsh edge with them.
That is nice. I do like that effect.
There we are. And if you wanted the outside a little bit darker, then you just carry on the outside, but don't flick it in so far.
So what would you tend to do then, Al, for the rest of the card? If you started inking, where would you go with this as a project?
You could put your layering dies in the centre. This could be just your outer mat. And then you could put your sentiment or your feature point then would go in the centre. Because you can make like a little vignette around it. And you can bring it in as far as you want.
Yeah,
you know,
so
if
that
I wanted
the die
that,
covers the bit of the edges.
Yeah. Just keep going.
I do like that effect, it's nice.
So there we are, hopefully, there we are. That's picking it up on the camera now.
There we go.
I haven't got a light piece. If you could see the edges then. The edges are slightly darker.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's helped, Lisa.
There we are.
To a type of particular card or anything?
This is just my bog standard cards. There's nothing special about it.
Bog standard card available at Cardstock.
Yeah, don't go in and ask for bog standard. These little sponges are washable. If you want to wash them with our Nuvo ink, I would do it quite quickly. But the ink will dry on it and you can reuse the sponge again.
So it doesn't really matter if it's stained,
Doesn't matter.
if it's dry.
If you keep one for each colour, then you're fine. Absolutely fine.
Lovely.
But if you've got watercolour inks and things, they will wash out.
There we are. Hi to everyone. Everyone's saying hello. It's good to see you too. I've missed you all.
Okie dokie.
And someone did ask me a question and I've lost it.
Oh.
When can we buy the hybrid inks again?
Good question.
Because there's a couple
We are
which we're still
waiting
out
for
of
them.
stock on, isn't
Yeah.
there? It's like the clear and the black, I think we've had to wait on the stock on those and we're still waiting. So I know I've got a couple of people who are still waiting on those on the customer service side, but I mean it shouldn't be too long now, really.
Shouldn't be
should
long.
it?
Hopefully not.
Hopefully.
They
Closer than ever before.
they
Yes.
do take a few
We're
months.
closer than we were last month.
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
they take a few months for
They
production.
do, yeah.
But we will let you know when they're in stock.
But that just goes to show what quality they are if they take this long to make.
Exactly.
They've got to be right.
They've got to be
Exactly.
perfect, otherwise they're not going to you guys.
No,
That's
not
how
at
we
all.
roll.
Exactly.
So we did have one from.
But as soon as they're back in, I will bring them on the show and we'll tell
And
you.
we'll have a
You
celebration.
can order.
Yeah.
Woo woo! We can have a party that day.
break open some bubbly for the hybrids.
Yeah, most certainly can.
So we had
Champagne as well.
yeah, shake it up. Angela asked about decorating the sides of an octagon box. Then so I can see you're ready, prepared.
I'm all ready this morning.
She is, love her.
Right. I think Angela was having a little bit of a problem knowing what to decorate or what dyes to use to decorate the outside. So if I take this away and I take the centre away, there may be one or two rogue dyes in here because I may have mixed up my hexagons and octagons. So if there are, just ignore the ones that you haven't got.
Be careful with those rogue dyes.
I know, they do get everywhere. So you've got quite a selection of dyes. They range from dyes that will cut out the whole design. Now the ones that cut out the whole design are this little one here, which is, what does it say? Homework never, sewing forever, I think it says.
Good little slogan.
It is. Yes, that's what it said. Oh, sewing forever, homework never. That's what it says on there. And it gives you a little deboss. Oh, that way. I don't know whether you can pick it up. No.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell her what I'll do then.
Ooh.
Oh.
She's gonna wink it.
I'm going to ink it
Technique for
slightly.
me,
Yes.
Yeah.
If you pop a little bit of ink on the top, then it does tend to pop it out
Yeah, it has actually.
just slightly.
Pop, pop.
It may still be too pale for you to pick
yeah,
out.
the white balance there is
Oh,
picking it
I
up.
don't know whether you're going to pick it up, but it will pick it up. So that die cuts out everything. If you feel the die and it's got a raised edge all the way around the edge, then it means that die is a cut out die and it cuts the whole thing out. If you pick up the die and it's got no raised edge, it's quite flat on the edges, then it just cuts out the pattern. You can just cut out the pattern and put it into the edge on here. Right, hang on now, you can't see that. So we'll pop that behind. So I've used the button border and you can just cut it into the flaps that are on the lid. If you didn't want to do that, the only thing is, depending on what cardstock you're going to use, this is going to weaken the lid of your box. So you could pop another little colour behind it, which would put the strength back in and then glue it back together. Or failing that, you use the plain edge die which has got the raised edge, so it's going to cut the shape out for me, and I've used that just to cut this one. Then use one of the dies that hasn't got an edge on it, place that on top and recut it. And that die then, I've done one with the stripes here, so I cut the plain out, then I put the pattern in, and you can either stick that directly onto the flap of your box, or you can back it with a plain die and then stick the two on. So hopefully I've given you a few options there of how to decorate the lid of your box. If there's anything else specifically you want, Angela, just let us know, and hopefully I can answer it again. Yeah. Oh, the other thing you have got on there as well, which I nearly forgot, you've got a smaller edging die. There's two of them. One with kind of a little decal edge, and the other one has got a pinprick edge, and that will layer on top of the plain. So that's another idea. So in one set you've got numerous designs. Sorry, there's 3 of them. There's also a stitched edge. So you have got quite a selection, and hopefully that's answered your question, Angela. But let us know if you want to know anything else.
Here we are. Hope that's helped you. It's always good to find out like other people's ideas for decorating
exactly.
stuff, isn't it?
When we do a die set, we try and put in as many variants as we possibly can, because obviously we want you to have value for money.
Yeah.
So the more things you can do with the die set, the
otherwise
better.
You get bored of it, really, and then
well, it tends to be a one-trick pony.
Yeah,
otherwise.
Exactly. It's just, you know, gives you a lot more options then.
And we know from seeing your boxes and things on Tonic Live, there's not been 2 that have been the same. Everyone has done something different with them. So we kind of met our brief there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that question.
What's Sarah's question there, Al?
Right, Sarah wanted to know how to do some different flowers. So I wanted to talk to you today about flowers anyway. I'll put that there. I wanted to talk to you about different papers doing flowers. So I've cut out a pile of flowers this morning. I haven't had a chance to make up any flowers, but I have brought them with me. So they are all... These are the flowers from the kit.
I love these. They're beautiful.
I'm sorry, if you these are from last month's kit.
Yeah.
But if you've got any flowers, you can do something similar. I'm going to show you how the different flowers behave first of all. I've got some various thicknesses of cardstock. What have I done with them now?
So what would you say, Al, is the best thickness to work with on flowers?
There is no best.
So you can use anything then. But I
exactly.
A thicker one will be harder to
It'll be harder to mould.
Yeah.
I suppose there's probably a max it's not.
I wouldn't go too thick.
I suppose like this sort of is perfect, isn't it? Especially
250 would be the max I would use for flowers. Now I did cut a pile of copy paper flowers, and I think I've left them upstairs. I think I've left them on my desk. Yeah, do you mind? They're white, just white copy paper they are. There should be quite a pile of them there. Right, so what I wanted to show you as well, in your craft kit, you have got a large ball tool. So you've got one huge end, which hopefully if I bring it over you, you've got one very, very big end. That doesn't sound right either. And one a little bit smaller.
It's you.
I didn't say anything.
You're the one that always laughs at these.
I wasn't laughing. You started smirking, Daniel.
Well,
you're the naughty one.
Well,
if you
is
find
always full of filth.
It's a bit, isn't it?
if you find you want to do more varied flowers, then I would go for this kit, because in this you get your foam, which I couldn't do without. It's lovely soft squidgy foam. You get your tweezers in there, which is a reverse action tweezers, and you get another set or another 2 embossing tools. So you've got every size embossing tool you're going to need. So we've got 2 smaller ones there. Oh, I get them in shot.
Wow, Mary said she's
And
still
2
got
bigger
all
ones.
her original flower punches, Al.
You can do exactly the same with them. don't bin them, don't do anything with them, just use them. I love the flower punches.
It's a good little keeper, that one.
It is.
Oh,
Those
I
would be
still
worth a
use
fortune,
them.
wouldn't they? I'm telling you.
You will still see projects of mine that have still got those on.
Really?
Yes.
Those are going to be in a couple of 100 years in a museum or something.
I think so.
Quite possibly. Right, if I'm going to use, this is a mirror card and it's a 250 GSM. So I would go on the back of these and use a big embossing tool. The reason I wouldn't use a small one is if you look on the front,
Does it leave like
it leaves a mark.
See, now I
If
had
you
a
look on
lady
that.
earlier asking about flowers, and so when I asked you about Dan with the tutorials and that, and she was saying that when she didn't know whether she was doing something wrong, but her card was creasing up a lot
Right.
when she was doing it, and she was getting like creases in the card when she was turning it over. Do you know why that could be, Al? Maybe she's
when
going
she's
a bit too
embossing
hard.
it.
No, when she's doing this.
Oh, you will always get creases. You will always have
There'll always
creases
be
when
a
you're
few
embossing.
marks, won't there, I suppose?
Because you were shaping that card and you're stretching some of the fibres,
I
no?
think you sent me on a jolly. I think.
Oh, I'm
they're-
sorry.
They're like they've got the paper there, but not the
Oh,
like the cutouts aren't
Oh. I don't know
oh
then.
dear, that was just a joke.
I'll show you the back
Oh,
of this now. You will, but you will always have some creases. I am sorry. If you look on the back here, I don't know how. Can you see any creases on there? Are they picking up? No,
Not really.
no, they are there.
Is it? I suppose.
But but they're very small. If you look on the edge of the petals, they are there. The other thing is, if I press with a small tool again with this, it brings the petals in really, really tight, or as tight as this card will go. If I use,
Amazing, really, isn't it?
it is. If I use the bigger one, they don't come in quite as tight, and you don't get the dip in the middle. So this flower, I would kind of use maybe on its own, or do the same with another one, and just put two of them. I wouldn't layer these up because they're not going to shape.
Is that just like a mirror card?
This is just our plain mirror card. So this is 250 GSM. So I'm just gonna
They look really
pinch a
nice
bit of
in the
glue.
shiny part.
Oh,
Line.
it's just bringing in different cards. Oh, it is working. So again, yeah, it is a gamble. So again, I don't want a flower that's coming up into a bowl. I just want a flattish flower. So therefore I've used the larger of the embossing tools. So again, I'm just going to offset the petals,
See, I think that looks stunning, Al.
and I would leave it at that.
So pretty.
Possibly use a little crystal drop in the centre, but I think that flower says it all.
Beautiful.
Right, this is our handmade paper. If you've got this paper and you're just stroking it, then you need to use it.
All of you stop stroking.
Stop stroking your papers.
Start using it.
There are a few people that said that they need to buy more of the ones because they don't want to use the ones.
Exactly.
So it's, yeah.
Even the ones that are exclusive will be available at some point, so you can use that paper.
Yes.
So if you bring this one in, this,
Tonic guarantee.
exactly, if you see this, I wouldn't have got that depth
No.
with the mirror card. I wouldn't have been able to make it into that shape.
So this is a good example of what you can do with different
Exactly.
thicknesses, isn't it?
Exactly. But if I'm going to send that in the post, it's going to flatten. So be careful how you're going to post your cards as well. So what I would do with this, even though it will shape, any pressure and it's going to lose its shape. So we'll pop them together.
If you want to put them on stalks, or
You can do that.
like, how would you attach them?
If you bend the top of the stalk over to make like a little loop,
Yeah.
and then I would just push it through the middle.
Yeah.
Make a hole with your pokey tool.
Home decor, just something.
Yeah.
like
And maybe get some florist tape and go on the back of it. So this one then, again, it will all shape up, but if you're going to put any pressure on it, you're going to lose the shape. So again, hopefully these are some flowers that you can, I mean, you can do this shape with something else because it's a pretty shape. I've done that with maybe 10 layers. And it looks then like,
Wow.
you know, like a beautiful chrysanthemum where everything comes up.
Would you be able to lay them up to the point where they wouldn't be that, they'd be more sturdy and stuff? Or would it always struggle
Would you use that much handmade paper?
to make one flower?
Possibly
Maybe
not.
Maybe.
So I would save that. I would save my handmade papers for the smaller flowers because you want to see the beauty of that paper.
Yeah.
So I probably wouldn't use it for this shape. Right, I have got, the next one I've got now is a 216 GSM. This is our Craft Perfect card. So what I would do with this is possibly, you can shape them. If I shape them with a large ball tool and then maybe go in with a smaller one, you will get creases. That is the nature of it. But just keep going in.
Caroline just said, if you mist the back of the cardstock with water before embossing after flower has dried, the fibres reconstruct and the flowers become firmer.
They do. They do. That was
That's a good
something.
little tip.
That was what I wanted to show you, even though I haven't got water, with the...
Oh yeah, now it's coming out.
I wanted to show you that with the copy paper, actually. Okay, so we can
Strange that,
do...
though, someone said something, that's what you're going to do.
I know, I know. So again, we're bringing these flowers in the kit, and I'm sure if you've got flowers at home, you've got smaller flowers as well. You can use the smaller flowers as a centre. These are going to hold a little bit more than the handmade paper. So again, I like to offset the petals. And I've got 4 of these.
See, they're fun to make as well, these flowers, aren't they?
And
You
they're
can't
quite
really
quick.
get bored of it. 'Cause
No.
everyone looks a bit different.
You know, you can sit down, if you're watching TV in the night, put a
Yeah.
tray on in front of you and then just make your flowers, put them in a box, and then they're ready then for
Yeah, just to stick on.
when you want to make your cards. And you can still be social then and talk to everybody.
I saw a lady as well before who was making the flowers out of felt and putting them onto kiddies' hairbands and
Awesome.
clips and that, and they looked so pretty.
They are
Or making little
awesome.
brooches with them.
I've seen them stuck on mirrors as well, like on like Amanda did one where she put around the edge of the mirror and things like that. So you can do
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's lovely. So that's 4 layers there. So you can see if you carried on, whoops,
Yeah.
that is 4 layers. So it could be, then you have one open one on the bottom. It looks a bit like a water
that's
lily
it. Oh,
then.
I like that, Al. Do like that.
And I've only done these from 1 flower.
If only we had a frog die.
Exactly. So this is the 250 GSM again now. So I'm going to curl from the opposite side this time. And again, this is more like a gerbera to me. So press the centre.
A gerbera.
A gerbera.
I'm not very good at remembering.
What is a gerbera?
I know.
A
I've
gerbera.
heard
You
of
know, you
it.
see those flowers in a bunch and they're really bright, zingy colours.
Yes.
That's a gerbera. It looks like a big daisy but in a bright colour.
Lies.
You know
Going
how
along
often,
with anything there he is.
you
Yeah,
know how
I
often you buy flowers.
Just nod and
A little
wave.
too close to gerbil.
Gerbil.
Just made it across.
Yeah.
Made it there.
So that could
Not
be
a fan
my
of
base.
gerbils, eh?
Whoops. Let's press those together. That could be my base
That
there.
is lush, mind.
Or
So pretty.
we can put a smaller layer in the middle of that to make it look more like a daisy. We could put our crystal drops in the centre. We could put glitter in the centre.
Yeah.
We could frost the edges with a little bit of glitter. Lots of things you can do with it. If I had remembered to bring my... Let me have a check, make sure it's there.
Ink around the edge of them.
You can ink around the
Bring it back
edge.
again.
Bring it back round.
You can
Getting
ink
those
around
hybrids.
them. No, no, I haven't got them in there.
I mean, it's got a bit cool though as well though, because no one has any. So it's just.
No, I know. We shouldn't keep using.
I cut out a pile of the copy paper ones and I was going to scrunch them all up. What you can also do with copy paper is put a little bit of ink on your mat, spray some water on it, leave your paper to dry, rub your paper into it so you get a nice mottled effect on it, leave it to dry and then cut them. If you cut them when they're wet they may break, but you can also re-spritz them and reshape them then afterwards. So I would just take the flower and just scrumple them in my hand. I know that's a little bit not good, but with the copy paper you get a better scrumple. And they look a little bit more tatty then. And you can that one isn't very good, but if you've got copy paper, this is a bit thick, it's 240. Okay. And it doesn't
squint up very well.
You know, there's my questions
gone.
Notes.
Yeah. Just like that. Oh, use that.
I know.
She's gone rogue.
And it will...
like the dice.
Just like the dice.
Exactly. But you know when you get that nice tattered flower, maybe I'll put it on... Maybe I'll do it on tomorrow's project for live. I haven't done it yet, so I can do that. And you get the nice creased effect. So that's... I will show you that one tomorrow. Another one you can do with this is take your... I was going to say your forceps then. Can you tell I was a nurse?
Take your forceps.
Take your forceps.
I don't think many people are going to have a set of them, Al.
No.
Multi-use though, aren't they?
Take your tweezers. Hold the base of your flower. Whoops. Put your foot and twist. Or fold, whichever. You can either twist them at the base or fold them around the tweezers, not the forceps. Or you can twist and fold, whichever you fancy.
You're going to get everybody asking about these new Tonic forceps now, Al.
I know, sorry.
When are they out for sale then, these forceps?
You already have them out there. So squeeze them and twist. And again, if you've got dexterity problems, sometimes because you're squeezing it around something, it makes it easier. Whereas if I said to you, right, fold it in half, you may struggle, because I probably would. And again...
This is probably a little bit more time consuming than doing it the other way.
Little bit. But again, if we put...
Speak for themselves, then, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. So again, we're just going to squeeze the petal, twist it.
Yeah, someone said forceps an idea for a future kit. What have you done, Ali?
Sorry.
What have she started?
We'll have a first aid kit, is there?
Yeah. The midwife kit. Stephanie Jones asked on YouTube, she said, which pad are you using? She's using which is the one to shape the flowers, the beige one?
This is the one which is from the Floral Crafters kit. Floral Crafters toolkit.
So that comes with literally everything you need to be able to do this.
It does.
And more.
It does. I mean, if you make flowers, then I can't see that you can do without it.
Sarah said, what kind of nurse did you used to be, Al?
Oh, I'd done a bit of everything. I wasn't a midwife. I worked on a surgical ward. I worked on an orthopaedic ward. I was a psychiatric nurse. I was a nurse for 30 years, so it was a long time. So I did a bit of everything, but mainly surgical. Right, so what I'm going to do with these again, I'm going to pop them together. But what I would possibly do with these, because we got quite spindly now arms with them. Whoops. Squeeze them together, and then if you've got an arrangement, squeeze all the petals together and just pop that in at the side. So imagine this is all my arrangement here. Very technical.
Tell you what, mate, it does look real, that one, doesn't it?
That would pop in at the side. And it does look a little bit different.
That does look really quite
If
real.
you've inked the edges and it wasn't such a garish pink, then
you know,
it's another idea.
very pretty. Look at all those. How pretty.
And they are all done out of the same dye. And they're all done out of that dye from the kit.
Amazing.
So you may have a dye similar to it in your collection. Have a go.
You'd never think that was the same dye for all of those, would you?
No, no.
The colour makes them look different every time.
Yeah.
The colour definitely does. But again, I will show you tomorrow when they're all scrunched up and it's been inked and wet and everything else. Because I didn't bring it with me.
After it's been scrunched.
After it's been scrunched, yes. So hopefully that's given you a couple of ideas, Sarah.
What do we have here, Al?
My scrumpled paper.
De-scrunch the paper.
Yeah, what was the treasure map?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Well, you could ink it with the hybrids.
Yeah.
Right, Patricia has asked, I meant to bring it down with me and I don't know whether you've got one in here, guys. Have you got a Aquaflow glitter gloss pen?
Possibly. That pen stand.
And an Aquaflow pen would be lovely.
For pens, yes.
Any colour, any colour. So, Patricia asked, was the Aquaflow an overlay pen and will you be able to see the colour through it? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
But you can also use it as a mixing
It's not a glitter
pen.
gloss, but you gave it to me.
You haven't got a glitter gloss, have you?
He was like, oh, that's a nice colour, you can have that.
That's all right.
Have it.
It's also a mixing pen, so you can mix it with any colours. You could scribble some water-based pen onto your mat and pick the colour up with that. Just use it for tinting around the edges.
I think that
No.
might be a no on the glitter.
We
That's
don't
a no.
have one.
Patricia, I'll do a little bit more with the glitter gloss pen next week.
We did have it quite late through this morning.
Yeah,
that
we
batch,
did.
didn't we? It
And I
came
forgot
through
to put it in my
not long
box.
before we came on
The
air.
basic thing is that you put the Aquaflow down, maybe let it dry, or I mean, it doesn't have
Doesn't
to.
need to. Doesn't need to.
Okay.
If you
I'll sit
drop,
down.
if it's still wet and you drop some of the gloss into it,
Yeah.
it just, the patterns it makes is amazing because I know you've played with them.
Yeah. Okay.
If you see the patterns it makes, you know, if you drop it onto your mat and things, and then you can pick that up with a piece of card. But maybe we'll do a few techniques of this at a later date.
Yeah.
But the answer to your question, yes, it is an overlay gloss, but there's a lot more to it as well, Patricia.
Well, we'll do a bit more on that next week then, shall
Yeah,
we?
yeah.
I'm sure a lot of
we'll
people
bring
could
that
probably
in.
do with a bit of a insight into
Exactly.
what it can do.
That's all I could see. There was a piece sticking out on the side of my head.
This piece is sticking out all over mine. The point.
Mary Gilchrist asked us as well, what plates do we use for our dimensional embossing folders? So if you've never seen our dimensional embossing folders, it's the ones that come with the die set. And whether we can bring this in here, can we show the folder on a close-up? Sorry. That's the folder. So it's got, I know there's a bit of, oh there we are, that's better. It's got two patterns and it's got a stripe in the middle. I think there are two lots of dimensional folders. Are they one or two?
This, I think it was 4, wasn't it? Altogether.
Was it 4?
I think it was 4.
4. Okay. This is the effect it makes. And if you think, well, every embossing folder does that. They will make a pattern, but if you use a normal embossing folder, it kind of squares off the edges. So you just get almost like a skyline effect where everything is squared. With this one, it very much rounds the edges. So if I wanted to ink it, we'll go back to our inking again. If I can find my sponge. It'll pick up more ink on the raised areas than it will on the edges.
Oh, that's nice.
A little bit faint but you'll have a bit more
You
ink.
don't need a lot though, I suppose, do you?
You don't.
You just need to give it that little tint.
So again, just
That'll make the butterflies pop out as
exactly,
well,
exactly. And that's the bit I like about these.
Oh, that is very pretty.
It's lovely, isn't it? And I'm
Look how
not
quick that
doing,
is to do. Just emboss it and then a little bit of a rub over and
and it's done.
yeah.
Oh, a little bit too much there. I didn't use my own rules there and rub it off first.
It's alright though, Al.
It's okay.
Pulled it back.
It's okay.
You won't tell anyone.
I think everybody knows. It's do as I say, not as I do. So that's the style of folder we have then. So it picks out a lot of the raised areas. And you can play that with different colours and a lot more than I have there. But the plates that you need to work with these are your green plate and your raspberry plate. And the reason being is because of this dimension, these embossing folders are thicker than the normal ones. If you use even different embossing folders, I mean, we do suggest that you use your base plate, your top plate and your raspberry plate. If you find that your embossing folders are not getting the effect that you want, it may be that you need a thicker plate with your raspberry plate. So maybe try your orange plate, but don't force it through the machine because you could be at risk of damaging your machine or your plates. But give it a try. There are certain ones out there that do need a thicker plate. It seems to be that embossing folders come in many thicknesses. So just give it a little try. But that's what it is. It's the green plate and the raspberry plate. So it's the embossing plate, 2 embossing plates.
So Ricky said, can you ink the folder itself before you emboss?
Yes, you can.
And she could, what ink? So you could still use that ink, couldn't you?
You can use, I would probably not use this because it's going to stain your folders. I would probably stick with the water-based. And then you can just clean it off with water then.
There we are.
But these are going to, they
I'd like
will
to see
mark.
that done actually.
We can do that again.
We'll do that just to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Nice.
I won't do it today because I'm going to water-based it.
That's all right. So there we are, girlies and gentlemen.
And our last question, I kept it to the end because it made it. We did have another one.
She didn't have this one on the list.
It is on there.
Oh, is it?
But we're going back up. This is Naomi Fordham. She asked yesterday on our craft battle, could I do a circular box? So I've done a circular box. I would have liked to have spent a little bit more time with it, but there's the circular box. So I've kind of done it in different colours. Whoops. Hang on, I put a base in this one, but it's not stuck. So you can see all the workings out, but it doesn't want to come out. Sorry if I'm deafening you all, but there.
We could do with a circular box die, couldn't we?
We could do.
Maybe a future idea right there.
I can't get the base out now. No,
I think it's stuck.
It's stuck, right. So this is how I've come to this box anyway. Right, I used our circular layering dies, our A2 ones I've used. And these are just the plain ones. And I used the second size in. So I have cut, I may just have to talk you through this because it got a little bit long this morning. So I've taken a piece of cardstock. This is the length of an A4 card. I thought it was going to be big enough to go around the box, but it was slightly short. If you could see there, I've had to put a join in. Oops, there. So how I did it, I've put a score line at 1/2 inch and fold that first. And I've done the same on a little scrapper card as well, so I'm going to add that on the end. You can do this all mathematically and measure the circumference of your box, or you just do it by guesswork. The other way you can do it is by running a piece of string right the way around and kind of adding a little bit, I would, just for error. That will go around your box and then you cut your card that length. Or you can do it by, I've forgotten something about the diameter by that one.
Maths and then, or you can just do that one.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've done it. I was thinking it was Pythagoras last night, but that's triangles, isn't it? That was triangles. Because that was the square on the hypotenuse. And this is pi r squared.
Yeah, pi r
That's
squared.
this one. There we are, look at you. So I got a little bit of tape. So if you want to do your I can't remember what pi is now.
Oh, it's like
It's 3.5436.
All right, guys, let's all just chill
Oh
out.
my
yeah?
word, it's getting a bit.
Like 3.146,
Everyone just calm down.
I think. And
This
then
is reaching
obviously
a
it goes
level.
on forever, but the 3 decimal place, I think it's 3.146.
All right, Dan.
It's been.
I know.
Come
The only
on,
bit of
Dan.
math I remember.
I'll include it in the description.
This is the
It's
craft
been about
world,
40
yeah?
years since I did this.
We
I
don't.
know
We
what I
don't need
haven't-
speakings of pie and all this kind
Do
of
we
thing.
have
for the
scissors
crust.
around the
Just
corner
exactly.
there?
What's that,
Do
Len?
we have a
Pie cake.
scissors?
Pie
I
cake.
forgot my scissors.
Math and crust.
The only pie I care about is the edible ones.
Right, so I've added far too much onto the end of there, but we can snip it off later. So what you're going to do is on this little score line, you're going to snip all the way up. Try not to go beyond that line because it doesn't give you a neat edge. That then, the smaller you do these little nicks, the more even edge you're going to have. So what I would do then with the circle, I've put some tape, but for a more permanent I would probably glue as I'm going, but it would take a little bit longer because you'd have to hold it in place. So take a bit of your tape off. I think I'm going the wrong way there, but never mind. And I would hold this up to the edge of the box and run around right at the diameter. I don't know whether you can pick it out there. I'm trying to do it a bit too quick now. And continue right the way around your box until you get to the end. And then what I would do then is put a piece of tape on the edge and glue those together. You can always cover the join with something, whether it be ribbon or maybe you want to put another strip around it.
It's a bit of a fiddly thing, the old round box, isn't it?
It is fiddly. It is fiddly. Right, for measuring then your top, what I did for that was take another strip, and again I needed a little bit extra. Oh,
Always just messing around on his phone.
That's just
Borderio, Bordery.
No, that alarm which I set for the daily, so I
Oh, he's got alarms now for the
Yeah.
dailies.
It's just
Dear
something for
me.
but it hasn't
New
happened
Year's
so far yet.
resolution.
As in our word.
Resolution.
so far.
Well, with 5 minutes either way.
5 minutes either way.
so what I would do with this strip then is wrap
Yes.
this
Yeah.
around the box, but not too tight because obviously you want this lid to go on and off smoothly. So leave a little bit of a gap, try and make sure everything is straight, and then I would stick that together. And then again repeat your little snipping around the bottom. So if I'll pop a little bit of tape on you. I'm not going to need all that. And then you can kind of see where I'm going. Oops. I've put a piece of tape both ends with this because it makes it easier for holding it all together. Right, so we'll pop that one's off and we'll take that one off. So if you line it up at the base, because that tends to be the most sturdy, line it all up. Oh, I put my tape on the wrong side. Never mind. We can
This is what happens when you're live, see Al.
I know. There we are.
Live.
Mm.
So I can always chop that other bit off with the tape because I've got plenty there. Line it up properly, not where I have there. And then once you've snipped all around here, so we carry on going all around there up to the line.
Jackie Moore says, I use a large can of tomato soup as a mould to make it easier to control.
That sounds good, but it depends whether that's the size box you want to make.
Could a lamppost do the same thing then?
No, Daniel, because you can't pull
You
it
can't
off
pull
the
it off the
ground,
top of
my
the
darling.
lamppost.
True.
So the easiest way I found was to put this, keep snipping,
That's like the worst.
I
Right,
think
like,
we
where did
put
he pluck
this-
that from?
I don't
come
know.
up with some stuff, but
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
bless
done that
him.
a bit tight.
I'll just stick to stuff.
You could have just said a bowl or something like that,
Oh,
but
I
you
was
went all
gonna
out
say,
for a
like a
lamppost.
half-
A cylinder of some
Yeah.
sort, so I was thinking.
A cylinder of the
Box.
size you
It's a
want.
bit big, isn't it?
quite a big, you know, it depends how big you want to make your box.
I suppose it
Exactly.
does.
That's why I said lamppost. You know? I mean,
Right.
You can go, if you're really tall, just go around. You know?
If you, whoops, I pushed that down too far.
Or
now.
really strong.
Don't know what's
rip it up out
happening.
of the ground, you know.
Yeah, if you're Thor.
Either way, yeah.
Yeah, either way.
Any crafters called Thor out there, just rip a
Yeah,
lamppost out.
Just rip up, make sure to put it back though. That's the.
If you can't do that, use a tomato soup can.
Yes. Carry on snipping until you've done all that little strip. Push them all in. Then take your lid with your tape around it and just sit it on the top.
I
And that
fancy
will
a bit of
make your
tomato
lid.
soup now, not gonna lie.
I think that was
So there's the inside of my lid. As you can see, all the little snip pieces. You can cover that then with the another circle, and then you have your box. So if I take that one off, that was how I made it. I know it was a little bit rushed, and I would have liked to have spent a little bit more time, but that was how I got to that point. So I'm hoping, Naomi, that that's helped you. And don't forget, show us what you made.
Yes.
So when you've done your circular box, which will be a lot better than mine, we'd love to see it.
Yes.
There we are, my lovelies. We hope
That is
that's
it
helped
now.
you. We've done quite a lot today, really.
I know.
More than I anticipated.
one final thing. So yesterday's
What's
craft battle.
that?
Someone just asked if Laura's going to be in a craft battle next week, Laura.
Next Tuesday, what day?
Gauntlet is thrown.
What day?
Monday.
Monday there.
Well, I will be here.
You will be here at
Yeah.
that time.
Okay.
So, which card would you have chosen to as your favourite Chinese New Year card?
2018 Chinese New Year.
Well, she chose Dan's. Sadly, that's not going to make any difference to the vote. Because,
Oh.
I won.
Oh!
I think though, if they saw it in real life, they'd think differently.
Yeah.
No offence, but there's just more.
I
You
don't know.
know.
Look closer though. I think
I
you're not,
outlive.
I think you're not looking close enough.
There's layers to orange.
Happy
If
birthday
I
for your
if I
18th.
look any closer, I will still prefer this one even more.
Is your dog 18? You're not quite sure, are you? 2018.
Is my dog 18?
That's the problem I had, where like it looked like an 18th birthday card for a dog.
Oh yes,
But
yeah.
in Chinese
Or
colours,
someone who
you
likes
know.
dogs.
Yes.
But I just think, taking that aside, the quality of the work, I'd still go for this because you've got a lot of smudges and glue, and your 2 doesn't fit on the card.
Yeah.
That was intentional.
But-
That's to keep it
Was
in
it?
depth.
I love them both though. I feel like he's
From
about
the
12
scene,
right
it's
now.
Nice coincidence that it's supposed to be like that, where it doesn't. Fit
Oh, it's
on
meant
the-
to not
Yeah,
fit on the
yeah,
card.
yeah.
Yeah, I would use smaller numbers. maybe
But,
next
you
time.
know, they're both very good.
Thank you.
I just love a
I
bit
think
of
they're
3D.
learning.
Yeah,
They're
I
coming
won.
along
I won.
really
But in all
well.
fairness, Chuo, you have come a long way since some of your previous
I have,
attempts.
haven't I?
Yeah.
You know, there's drops
You
on there
know,
that are not
jeez.
smudged as well.
Think of the droppage situations
That's
we
you know,
had.
that's just Jones' influence. on
That
it.
is,
Bloody
that's
hell.
immense for starters,
The
I
drops
think.
went wild, didn't they, before? And now you've literally put 6 on there and you've left it, not
So-
100.
Someone made a good point. You know, that Dan is getting more adventurous,
Mm.
and I'm sort of reining it in. So we're finding
Like I said,
A
if
happy
me and Owen
medium.
Yeah.
combined our powers, we'd make
the
decent
ultimate
craft.
card. One.
I'm
good
sure
craft.
you would.
Yeah.
I'm sure
But-
you would.
Yeah, that's it for today. And heads up on the show later today with the jigsaws
6
going on
p.m.
with
Yes.
Julie at 6 p.m. So
Tune
Jigsaws
in.
and
They are
stamps.
amazing.
Lush.
There's going to be
If you-
so many ideas for you there.
Go above this
Amazing.
video on our Facebook page, the video for them and stuff there as well.
A die that can make a jigsaw puzzle.
Boom.
You
What more could you
imagine,
want?
imagine your children doing a jigsaw with their face on
Oh,
it.
There's so much
They're
you can
gonna
do
love
with
it.
these.
They're
So much
gonna
you
love
can
it.
do.
favourite lamppost.
Favourite lamppost.
I mean, I know mine. Do you know yours? What's your favourite lamppost? Comment down below.
Yeah, comment below.
And, we'll
Oh
count up the votes.
dear.
Loads of people are really excited about the jigsaws. I think they've wanted this kind of thing for a while.
Mm.
And following on from the bow, someone said, you know, these are 2 really different launches to stuff that you're going to be seeing out there. So
Yeah.
well worth getting in on that 6
Yeah.
p.m. today with Jodie, and then got shows again then the next day as well.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah,
We
we'll see
will,
you tomorrow.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
And